Hey everyone, it's technology expert Burton Kelso here with another tech tip to help you get the most out of the technology in your life. Today we're talking about tech devices. Should you repair them? Should you just throw them in the garbage? That is an interesting question, especially since we live in a world where most tech devices can't be repaired. Obviously, this is because a lot of companies want planned obsolescence, meaning that your tech devices don't last as long as they should, and so thereby, if that's even a word, so then you're forced to buy new devices rather than fixing those old devices. But there are some exceptions. So we're going to go through a list of tech items and talk about, should you repair them or should you replace them? We've got a lot of items to cover, so we're just going to jump right into it. So first is surge protectors or power strips, as most people think these devices are surge protectors, but a lot of them are just raggedy old power strips and some are actually surge protectors. So should you repair that? Well, the answer is no. And this gets into the price point as far as repair is concerned. So under most circumstances, when it comes to your tech devices, you should definitely look to see if the price of a new device is going to outweigh the cost to repair your old device. So in a situation with a power strip, then it makes sense to just go out and buy a new one. Now, I've got to grab something off the floor that is pretty darn heavy. Let's see if I can get this beast up here and turn it the right way and hold it up so that all of you can see it. Now, this is a battery backup. I wanted to make sure you could see my smiling face. Well, anyway, a battery backup is a surge protector on steroids. It has a battery in it, so in instances where there is a power outage, your tech devices and other household tech can run on the battery while you have the time to properly shut down those devices, because some devices will shut down and ruin what's going to happen. Or if you have it set up correctly, your computer will automatically shut itself down in the instance of a power outage. But also, a battery backup can be used as a surge protector, like one on steroids. And I'm going to try to set this down without damaging anything. So now battery backups have batteries in them, and they last about 3 to 4 years. So the question with that is, do you replace the battery in your surge protector battery backup combo? The answer is no. It's bad for the environment, obviously, with all these batteries, but rather than to get a new battery for your battery backup, in a lot of instances, unless you have a couple of $100 battery backup, better to just go out and buy a new device as opposed to trying to find a replacement battery for your surge protector. That brings up something else we need to talk about. Let's talk about laptop batteries, since we're on the subject of batteries. No display for that, but guess what I have? I've got an actual laptop. So laptops and other devices like, and I'm going to hold them up, my Dell laptop, my iPhone, my iPad, you're going to laugh, another iPad, which I'll be showing again later, and another tablet that has batteries. So the question goes, if you've got batteries in these items, should you get your iFixit kit and repair these items? A lot of instances you won't need the iFixit kit with a lot of these tools in it, which I use occasionally. But when it comes to batteries and your tech devices, in most instances, it's best to go ahead and repair the battery or replace the battery in your tech items, because batteries are pretty inexpensive. So if you have a laptop or a phone or a tablet that the battery is going bad in, then you definitely need to go ahead and replace it. Now, in some instances, you may have to pay a little more because, as you can see with the back of my Dell, there are screws holding the back of the battery cover on it, and It would take a professional like myself to actually get in there and replace the battery. Same thing with smartphones and tablets is that you would need the expertise of an expert. I love how I said that and how Apple logo's upside down. They're devices that manufacturers don't want you to replace. So, batteries can be replaced in these items. So, make it a habit to replace those batteries if they have to go bad or happen to go bad in your tech items. The next I kind of threw out there just for the gearheads who like replacing this stuff. So that is a motherboard, which is actually the main board for any tech device that you own, whether it be an Apple or Windows device, smartphone or tablet. All of them have motherboards or main boards. Should you replace it? Heck no. If you're replacing a motherboard, you might as well go out and buy a new device. Now, some gearhead IT person that you've hired may tell you that it's best to replace the motherboard, but in a lot of instances, you have to look at the price of repair as opposed to buying a new device. And keep in mind, too, they may convince you to get a new motherboard, but a lot of times manufacturers only process a specific amount of motherboards for particular tech items. So, if you were to get a new motherboard, it may mean that you're getting refurbished motherboard, which means one that has been pieced back together. Not necessarily bad, but at the same time, if you don't know how to replace it, do you want to pay for another repair in case the motherboard that you purchased doesn't work? Something to think about. Now, if you're able to replace that, go ahead and do it. But if you're a non-techie, just go out and buy a new device if it comes down to a motherboard. Same thing with our next item up for bids, which is a brand new printer that happens to have gone bad. And it's an inkjet. So guess what? I'll make this short and sweet. If you have an inkjet printer that is no longer working the way that it's supposed to, throw it away and buy a new printer. Now, if you have a laser printer, which uses like toner, then you should look into what the repair would cost before you actually have it repaired or toss it out. Because again, sometimes the cost of repair is more than a device. So if you have a $100 laser printer, throw it out and get a new one. If you've got a $1,000 laser printer, maybe worth getting fixed. But at the same time, if you have an inkjet printer that uses ink, throw that thing away. Some inkjet printers are a little bit more expensive, but can you get parts for it? Is it worth the repair cost to repair that old inkjet printer? Now, if you bought your inkjet printer at Walmart, then it probably stands that you need to go back to Walmart and get a new one if it dies. So keep that in mind if you have a bad inkjet printer. Next is LCD screens on both laptops and smart devices. Should you get them repaired or should you buy a new device? Well, LCD screens for laptops are fairly inexpensive. So, if you have the capacity to do it, then do it. If you don't, it may be a little tougher decision to make because even though LCD screens usually average around $100, $150, getting to replace one on a device like this laptop, oh my goodness. Do you think you could handle taking this thing apart to replace the screen? I could, but if you're not on that end, it ain't gonna happen. Same thing with tablets. I'm gonna be bringing these up quite a bit during this presentation. Can you replace the screen on those? Probably not, because they're not designed to be fixed on. Same thing with your smartphone. Can you fix it? I don't know, that's a toughie. But in a lot of instances, you may have to pay a little more to get it replaced. But I think in all instances with LCD screens, unless you have a cheap or very old laptop, it would be worth it. Because especially for smartphones and tablets, you're talking about devices that are $700 or $800. So yes, you probably should get those items repaired as opposed to replace it. Now, what about hard drives? I'm talking internal in a computer like this sample shows, or an external hard drive, which I'm about to hold up. Can you repair these? Well, most people want these items repaired because they want the data off of those things. And that's going to be an expensive chore because you're going to have to send it off to a data recovery center. Well, recovery starts about $700 to $800. So you should just back up. And if your hard drive fails, buy a new hard drive or get a new device. But realistically, if you have a computer that has a hard drive that is failing, not failed, failing, then yes, it is very cost effective to replace the old hard drive in your computer with a newer solid state hard drive. It is worth the money to do it. So that would be a repair. Next is kind of a no-brainer too. A computer power supply. My power supply has gone out and my computer will not turn on. Now, if this were a laptop, you're buying a new motherboard. So buy a new laptop. If it's for a desktop computer, meaning a Windows computer and the power supply has gone out, replace it. Power supplies are pretty inexpensive. Most are usually under $100, and obviously a $100 part isn't going to equal to a $500 or $600 desktop computer. Now, if you're using an iMac or a Mac Mini, you got to buy a new device. Because again, Apple doesn't want you to repair that stuff, and the cost of repair is going to be more than a new device. Or, yeah, I said that right. So next, tablets galore. What do? You got a tablet. Tablet won't come on anymore. Like one of the iPads that I have on the screen, or have with me here, actually has a broken screen. And it won't come on. It looks like a trip to the Apple store because unfortunately with Apple devices, if you want it reset, you gotta go to the Apple store. So let's say this won't come on. Or even worse, the Tenoshi tablet that I have with me does not power on. That was a tool that fell down, just in case you were wondering what that noise was. So, do you repair it? No! I better do the darker side. It doesn't make the screen go as dark. So no, if you've got an inexpensive tablet like a Kindle or e-reader, any of that stuff, or even this Tenoshi, which retails about $150, replace it. Again, make sure that you have your tablet backed up to the cloud. No big deal. Once you get a new tablet, it'll just download your stuff. And while we're on the subject of tablets, let's talk about smartphones. Smartphones, anyone? Should you repair them? Well, it depends. Again, we talked about screen replacement, but what if it's shot? I would have to say, in an instance of a phone, the repair can be worth it, but in a lot of instances, if your phone is shot, you may have to buy a new one because unless you have the extended warranty, which obviously you're not coming out of pocket with it, so definitely would be worth repairing that device rather than trying to buy a new one. They're expensive. So what about your smart TV? Should you fix it? The answer is no. Smart TVs, even though they're miniature computers, are pretty complicated devices. And especially if you've got an older LCD TV or, oh my gosh, plasma you need to throw out. LCD, too expensive to repair. So all those videos that you see of people breaking screens or smart TVs, they ain't getting those repaired. You're going to have to go out and replace that item. Now, obviously, if it's under warranty, manufacturer's going to cover that. So keep that in mind. Next, should you get that old flash drive replaced? Kind of a joke putting that in there, but some people have to think about that stuff. They want the old flash drive to work. Again, you just want the data off of it. And you ain't getting the data off of a flash drive. We've got one right here. Yeah, it's kind of small. It doesn't hold much room either. You ain't getting the information off of that thing. Just throw it out and buy a new one and make sure that you stop using your flash drive for backups. The whole purpose of flash drives is for you to be able to transmit your data or transfer your data from one device to another device, not back up or permanently store data on it. Flash drives only have about 1,000 read writes before they fail. So keep that in mind next time you save something to the flash drive. or save it to the cloud. Next, I'm just throwing all sorts of tech items in here. Let's say that you have a tile or one of these devices, a smart tag or an air tag. You get it refixed? Heck no, those things are so cheap. But people get into this mindset when it comes to technology that it can be repaired, it can be fixed. I'm going to hold on to my old devices because it can be fixed. Not in a lot of instances it can't. So keep that in mind when it comes to your tech items, including the smart home hubs. No, don't fix it because the technology on them changes so drastically and they're so darn cheap. Even if your screen goes out and your Alexa, oh boy, here we go. Show, I've got one off to the side here. Luckily, she didn't answer. Anyway, if you've got an Echo Show or a Google Home Show with the screen, if it breaks, just go out and buy a new one. Don't even try to have it repaired. And how about keyboards? Keyboards. Yes, I brought this up for a reason. Let's say you have a desktop keyboard. Are you really going to try to fix that? Put the letters back on that? No, you're not. When we talk about keyboards, we're definitely talking about Bluetooth keyboards that come with devices like this Tenoshi. You know? Let's get that out there. Yeah, keyboard. And with my Dell laptop, which I showed earlier. Do you replace those items? Yes, but again, with something like this Dell and the keyboard that it has, you ain't gonna do it. It's, yeah, look at that, backlit. Pretty awesome, huh? So anyway, yeah, keyboards, as you can see, you can't just go in and yank that thing off or even buy it from your local computer store. You're going to have to call in a tech expert with their iFixit toolkit to come in and fix that item for you. So keep that in mind. But yes, keyboards are very inexpensive compared to the price of a new laptop and a new desktop. Don't repair it. Just fix the darn thing or replace it for the love of God. With that said, if you've got comments or questions, leave them in the comments section below. And if there's any tech item that I left out of that extensive list that you have a question that it should be fixed or not, man, drop it in the comments section below. Also, wherever you're watching this video, whether it be Twitch or YouTube or Facebook or LinkedIn, comment, like, and share this video with your family and friends, because I'm sure there's some of your relatives and friends out there that could use some awesome tech tips to get the most out of the technology in their lives. So as I always say, I love technology and I've read all the manuals, and I'm serious about making technology fun, safe, and easy to use for everyone. So take care of yourself and do many things to make you smile like I do. And some guy even commented and said, dude, I don't understand why you're talking with your teeth. Strange world. Anyway, thanks for watching.